Okay, I'm going to get in real tight here. Now, these are one of these stories where you have to have a certain amount of faith, okay? And I know you don't have enough faith in me yet. That's why he's here, okay? At least he can remember me telling him this story years ago. It was a while ago.
Which story are you talking about?
All right. There's many stories, but this particular one is I was a DJ for a wedding for a mobile music place. And I was just learning the ropes, and I worked for a guy named Brad, and we were in a neighboring town. We were about a half an hour away, and he kind of acted a little silly during, like he embarrassed me. My boss embarrassed me at this wedding. He was inappropriate, and he shouldn't have done some things that he did. We're driving home in the big cube van full of speakers and stereo equipment and all that kind of stuff. And he's got a beer between his legs. And I said, Brad, are you okay to drive? Can you be doing this? And he went, oh, I'm fine. Matter of fact, he says, I'll tell you something. I'm coming back from Calgary, back to Kelowna where we lived. And he said it was about 3 o'clock in the morning or so. And it was so icy. This was in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, I remember this story.
It was so icy, he was able to turn the wheel of his car while traveling down the road, turning the wheels all the way to the right. And he's still going straight. That's how icy it is. Then he'd bring it back to center and go all the way to the left. Bring it back to center, all the way to the right. All the while, his car is going straight down the road, okay? There's long stretches. He was in a mountain pass called Rogers Pass. It's in the Rockies, I believe.
On the Trans-Canada.
Trans-Canada Highway. I'm sure you can Google it. It's very scary. It's called Rogers Pass.
1,336 meters above sea level.
There you go. That's a lot. That's like a mile.
Yeah,
It's over a mile. No, it's almost a mile. I don't know what a mile is anymore. So, I have no idea. It's all metric. Go metric. All right, so he's driving back, doing the wheel thing. His kid and his wife are asleep in the back seat. This is what kind of guy this fella is. Brad, he drinks and drives, and he takes chances with the steering wheel while his family's in the car. He hit a patch of gravel or bare pavement or something, and the car started to do 360s, spinning down the road, okay? The road was cambered in such a way that there's a corner coming up as well, right? So he's going around this corner, and the road is banked a little bit, so he was able to stay in his lane. The centrifugal force, or the inertia, right, is pushing him out, but the camber of the road is pulling him down, so that equalized, and he was able to turn, or almost equalized, go with the curve. And he could see the lights of another car coming on the other side of this corner. And he said it just so happened that the front of the car, his car, was swinging forward just as the other car was coming around the bend. He said to me, Brad said to me, I bet you our bumpers were this close. And I looked in the eyes of that driver, and it was sheer terror. And I was able to straighten out the car, and I drove on home without further incident. So, and I went, wow, what a bunch of baloney, you know? Who could believe that? He didn't mention anything about his wife waking up. And if you're spinning, you know what? The ride has changed, and you're going to wake up, I think, anyways. He never said anything about his wife or kid, so I assumed that he was lying. You know, drunk blather kind of thing. So, years pass, 8 years pass. I've long forgotten Brad and the DJ thing. Well, I haven't forgotten the DJ thing, but I have forgotten about him. I'm driving taxi. I own a taxi cab. And I drive this guy home, and we're talking on the way home, and he says, you know, I don't want to lose my license. I certainly don't want to wreck my car. And we pull up to his house, and it was a huge black Lincoln with suicide doors. Gorgeous, square, nice looking car. And I said, wow, that's beautiful. And he goes, yeah, you know, I almost lost it. Driving out to back east, driving to Toronto or something like that, and I was going through the Rogers Pass. It was about 3 in the morning or so, and he stops and says, "You're probably not going to believe this, but I could see the lights of a car shine on me or illuminate in front of it and then go dark, and then light and then dark, light and then dark." And he said it didn't make any sense. And he comes around this corner. And he's telling me this story. He goes, and I come around this corner, and you're not going to believe what's there. A car spinning in its own lane, going around. And he's using the same words that Brad used to me. And he says, and you're not going to believe this, but the car swings around just as I'm passing him. The front of the car swings around, and he says, and I bet you our bumpers were this close. And I looked into the eyes of that guy, and he was scared crapless or something like that. And I'm thinking, like the hair on the back of my neck is standing up, and I'm all goose pimply, and I'm thinking, holy crap, I know that guy. His name was Brad. I used to work for him. He told me the other side of that story 8 years ago. And his eyes get big, and his jaw drops, and he goes, whoa, that's really crazy, wow. So anyways, I was in the middle of that story, and it took 8 years to confirm that it was true. Number one, I was struck agog because it was true, and number two, it's just so fantastic to be a part of that, to be involved in some way. It was so neat.
You hear both sides of the same story 8 years apart.
Almost a decade, yeah. And the story was identical. They used almost the same words. It was surreal. It was awesome. That's cool. And that's why you should wear a helmet.